Well, is there anything else that you would recommend that a woman can do to light a fire under a guy's ass to get engaged besides walk away? Like if they have kids, because that's obviously harder. Like I agree with you that that is the thing that should be done, and it should be done before it got more complicated. I 100% agree with you on that. However, for like people in these sort of situations, and especially the women who want to be engaged, they want, to have an official family with this guy that they're with. Is there anything else that they can do besides walk away? Like, is there, I don't know, something you can say to men? Either like something, because like I personally know some of these women and I can empathize with where they're coming from.
Right.
Because I know it's out of a place of like, they love this person. That's why they're with them for so long. That's why they've had children with this person. And it gets to a point where they've been together so long where it is hard to leave because you're like, maybe he will finally do it, but also you don't know if he's going to finally do it. You know what I mean? And he loves you, but you're at the same time like, well, why isn't he doing it? Well, and that's why they start being like, oh, you know what I'd love for Christmas is a ring box or something. They start throwing the jokes around like that or like I said before when we first started this episode about the woman proposing, they start joking that they'll do it or something like that. And
that's not a good plan. That's not good. That doesn't help the situation.
I mean, I agree.
I mean, the first thing I would say is I still have to reiterate, don't get into the situation. Don't have kids with a man that you're not married to, if you can avoid it, right? Don't even move in unless it's going to progress in that direction. You feel like it's moving in that direction. But if you are in the situation, first of all, if you're not in the situation, you don't have kids, then just leave. If you don't have kids, leave.
I mean, I agree.
Period.
If you don't have kids that are like made you guys intertwine and you're going to be intertwined no matter what, married or whatever at this point, because you have a child, then leaving is 100%.
And don't threaten and don't say if you don't, don't give them a timeline, don't give them a deadline.
But really quick, when would you say that? Because I would say like 5 years is way too long.
5 years is way too long. I think
at more than 5 years is way too long.
It's more, I would say, around the 2 to 3 year mark is where, if you've been dating someone for 3 years, you should know in 1 year, but let's give 3 years at the cutoff. That's my cutoff is, hey, if he hasn't done it in 3 years, he's probably not going to do it. I mean,
the only reson I say 5, right, is because my brother and his fiance actually have been together for like 5 years.
Yeah.
But she was young and he was young too, when they first got together.
Right.
So for them, I feel like it was good that they got sort of through their 20s for the most part, and like saw that they could do life together, or especially even younger. Like if you're with somebody that you've been with since high school or something, I can see a longer time together before engagement because you guys are like handling being a child, going into the real world, like becoming an adult and your own person. And I do feel like you should probably see if you could weather that storm.
Well, that's fine if you're young and if as a woman you're okay with that.
Right.
But if you're as a woman you're not okay with that, cutoff is 3 years.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense as long as like you're okay with it. But I just wanted to throw in there that I feel like if you are younger, it is more important to have a little bit more time, which is why I thought the 5 years. But also if you're older, like, when we first got together, I was in my late 20s. So I was like, I'm at a point where I would get married. So it didn't take as long. Well, we had a good connection. We spent a lot of time together. Well, so it didn't feel like weird that it wasn't like years and years.
And just in general, though, as a woman, you should not draw it out. I would say that even the 5 years, I'd be cautious because you only got so many 5-year blocks in your life, especially in your young life.
Thing,
and you don't want to waste any of those 5-year blocks because that's a little bit long to test the thing out. A few years, 3 years is plenty of time to test it out and see what's happening here. Because, hey, if you start at 20 and you go to 25 and then that doesn't work out, and then you go from 25 to 30, you're kind of done. You don't have a lot more of those. You
You're
got a
not
30 to
done,
35
but
block. I mean,
it limits
you
your
got,
time frame.
You got 3 shots at it.
Yeah,
max.
but I'm not saying for women who are just like stuck in a situationship. And it's hard because what do you give a man an ultimatum? Like,
No,
we've
okay.
been together 5 years. If you don't marry me like soon,
No.
I'm walking out.
No ultimatum.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right,
I'm like,
that's the thing
I
is
know that
you
that's
just walk,
not good.
You just walk out. So,
You don't talk about it?
No, you don't talk about it. Because, well, here's what you do.
Do you
all right?
break up or you just walk out?
Well, okay. First of all, you make it clear that you would like to get married. That you don't have to say, don't do tacky stuff like talk about, I hope I get a ring for Christmas, or like that kind of stuff is just aggravating because it feels like nagging. It's not good. And
Okay.
and then it also takes away from when he does do it, because then he's like, oh, well, she just begged me for it and then I did it.
Yeah.
Not
I mean,
good,
I agree
right?
with that.
Instead, just drop some subtle hints like, oh, wouldn't I look good in this?
Wouldn't my left hand look good with a beautiful ring on it? No, that's the one.
Just
that
like
we
I
said
just,
don't do.
if you're like, I'm so excited to spend my life together
Yeah.
with you.
Those are the
I would
great
love
sort of
to
hints.
have a family, or you're talking about future things that make him feel good, not bad. When you
Right.
say, I hope I get a ring for Christmas, it makes him feel bad.
You're
It doesn't
putting
make him feel good.
pressure on him, and he might have already planned something, and then now he's like, crap, I'm not doing it at Christmas. Is she not going to like it, or what's going to happen? So I agree with that. Like,
he just needs to know that you're down for it, and that is the kind of life and future that you want.
Right.
That's it. Not a lot of pressure. Even if you have a talk about your future, and you could talk about, yeah, it'd be great if someday we get married, and you have that talk. I think that's fine, as long as you're not putting the pressure. You're just having that talk, and you're both agreeing to that. Now you've already talked about and agreed to it, even at that point.
well,
Okay.
I would say that you need to know that you both want to actually get married before you even get super far down the line. Like, I know with me and you,
Yeah.
you weren't 100% sure, but I just wanted to be with you. So, I didn't. Did I want to get married? Yes.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be with you more than I wanted to have a wedding. So that's why I made that choice. But I feel like
But you told me. You said
yeah,
you said I
was
will be
upfront
with
about it.
you even if we don't get married.
Right. But
And how
I
could you
also
not
feel
marry
like-
someone who says that?
But I feel like,
Right.
if you are a woman where it's like you really do want to get married, that is important to you, you do need to try to find a man that also wants to get married. Because if you're dating a man who's like, I'm absolutely not getting married, which is normally men who have been through a divorce. Like,
Yeah,
most
okay,
men who
sure.
haven't been through a divorce would get married. It's
Right.
normally men who have been divorced who are like, I'm not getting married again. So still have the conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
But
yeah.
you need to be on the same page as that. You need to be with a man, if it's really important to you to get married, who also wants to get married.
Right. And that conversation looks different, because that conversation is, do you see yourself getting married? Would you like to get
Right.
married someday? Not,
Right.
you need to marry me, otherwise I'm walking.
Yeah.
Right. That's the thing. But regardless, so now the stage has been set. He knows what you want.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that you're down for it. Hey, if the time ticks by and you're being patient and 3 years passes by, just walk out, break up. And then you can say, look, I didn't see that it was going anywhere at this point.
But then what if he's like, tries to propose after
Then,
that?
okay, that's okay.
But you think a woman should accept that? Because
Yeah,
I would
because-
tell women you would need to think about it and
Well-
make sure that he's not doing it just because he lost you.
That's fine.
And that he'll treat you well.
That's good. If he recognizes a loss so much that he's like, yeah, I'm going to marry you. I know some people might not agree with this, but let me tell you why that is good. Is because you didn't threaten him. You didn't give him an ultimatum. He didn't feel like he had to do it. But when he lost you, then he decided that he's now analyzed his life and said, wow, this is the best thing that ever happened to me. I do want this life. It's pushing him without pushing him, because you're not being a bully. You're not being a threatening person or nagging or any of that stuff or giving an ultimatum. You're just living your life, and you're saying, hey, I'm not going to accept.
Better than